way, there floated a unique wonder of the universe, a zero-gravity banana farm. Designed with care by none other than the cunning inventor Gru, it spun ever so gently above the earth, cocooned in a shimmering force-field greenhouse. This vessel was famed for growing the sweetest cosmic bananas, a cultivar cherished by all the minions. One mellow afternoon, dressed in his iconic scarf and a mischievous grin, Gru decided to take a break and indulge in a quick coffee run. As he prepared to leave, he handed over the reins of the beautiful floating farm to his trusty, albeit chaotic, minions. "Don't touch anything," he warned, though knowing them well, his words were merely a gentle breeze in a storm of impending mischief. Inside the zero-gravity farm, Kevin, Bob, and Stuart were already teeming with excitement. In this weightless paradise, golden banana buds floated like carefree balloons. Bob, ever curious and always charming, stumbled upon the gravity dial. With a mischievous glint in his eyes, he reached out and cranked it all the way to 00 mode. What followed was nothing short of spectacular. The entire station transformed into a magical scene. A swirling cloud of glowing bananas cascaded around them like a fruity galaxy. Kevin was quick to seize the moment, hopping onto a leaf platform and surfing through the air with effortless grace. Stuart, never one to miss a chance to jam, began strumming an invisible guitar, filling the air with imaginary sound waves that sent banana petals twinkling around them. Bob, meanwhile, floated upside down, laughing uncontrollably in the pure, unfettered joy of it all, his trusty Teddy bobbing gently by his side. But as the minions jubilantly frolicked through space, an unexpected alarm blared through the station, a critical alert: banana overload. The lack of gravity had allowed the super bananas to instead form into a massive banana comet, one that threatened to collide with the glass dome protecting the farm and, worse still, rain down a sticky banana mash across the entire planet below. Realizing the gravity of the situation, or lack thereof, Kevin rallied his fellow minions for a rescue plan as wacky as it was ingenious. Stuart, with his love for music, used sound waves from his imaginary anti-gravity guitar to coax the floating bananas back together. Bob, with creativity and charm, dressed his Teddy as a regal banana king, slowly luring the roving bananas to form a unified cluster. Their antics formed a dazzling display as they piloted mini hoverpods in a synchronized aerial ballet, herding the imminent banana comet with precision. The minions, filled with laughter and determination, worked as a team, their joy transforming chaos into choreography. Just as Gru re-entered the control room, sipping his steaming coffee, the minions pulled the emergency lever with flair. The gravity field buzzed back to life, settling every banana right into their designated rows, sparkling with a ripe glow. Gru, peering through the viewport, sighed with exaggerated disbelief. "I leave for 10 minutes." But instead of chaos, the minions stood proudly before him, and Bob held up their prize, a single glowing banana, perfectly shaped like a star. Gru, unable to suppress a smile, took a bite. His eyes widened in delighted surprise. "Best banana I've ever tasted," he admitted, a twinkle of amusement in his eyes. And, as the minions cheered, their laughter echoed through the cosmic greenhouse, leaving promises of more adventures to come. Content and happy, they hovered around their hero, the stars glowing gently outside the dome, ensuring a peaceful and delightful slumber for all young explorers who drifted off into dreams of zero-gravity gardens and minion antics.
Gru had just unveiled his latest invention, Robo-Helper 3000, a shiny silver robot designed to clean the lab and bring bananas on command. The minions were fascinated by its blinking lights and whirring sounds. Banana! Stuart yelled, testing the robot's abilities. Robo-helper zoomed off and returned with a bunch of bananas, much to the minions' delight. But the next morning, disaster struck. Robo-helper 3000 was slumped over in the corner, its lights flickering and sparks flying. "Who broke my robot?" Gru roared. Kevin, Bob, and Stuart exchanged nervous glances but quickly decided to solve the mystery. Clue number 1, the fallen screwdriver. Kevin found a screwdriver lying near Robo-helper. He said, scratching his head. Bob picked it up and noticed it had grease on it, leading to a trail of oily footprints across the floor. Clue number 2, the banana peel. The trail led to a suspicious banana peel near the main console. Stuart slipped on it, causing him to crash into a table. "Oops," he muttered, while Kevin inspected the console closely. Someone had pressed random buttons, there were sticky fingerprints everywhere. The culprit revealed. The footprints led the minions to a dark corner of the lab, where they found little Fluffy, their mischievous pet goat, chewing on wires. Bob gasped. "Banana?" he asked, confused. Fluffy bleated innocently, but the evidence was clear. Kevin pointed to the chewed wires and the mess Fluffy had left behind. The fix. Gru sighed as the minions explained the situation. "You're lucky I can fix this," he said. Gru grabbed his toolkit and got to work while the minions tried to keep Fluffy out of trouble. After some tinkering, Robo-helper was back in action, ready to clean and fetch bananas again. All's well that ends well. Gru warned the minions to keep Fluffy away from the lab. Meanwhile, the minions celebrated with a pile of bananas and a fully functional Robo-helper 3000. "Banana," they cheered, as Robo-helper zoomed around happily. The minions were in a state of utter panic. Every morning, Gru's secret lab was stocked with a fresh pile of bananas for their endless snacking, but today, there were none. Not a single banana in sight. "Banana!" Stuart wailed, holding up an empty peel like it was a trophy of despair. Kevin and Bob joined him, their faces twisted in hunger and confusion. Gru, sipping his morning coffee, raised an eyebrow. "If you want bananas, go figure out where they've gone." And so, the minions were off on their latest mission, solving the case of the missing bananas. A mystery unfolds. Their investigation led them to the local grocery store. The shelves, usually brimming with golden bananas, were empty. Shoppers whispered in shock, and the store manager stood outside, shaking his head. "It's as if they vanished into thin air," the manager cried. Kevin narrowed his eyes. Suspicious. Disguise and stakeout. The minions decided to blend in. Dressed as shoppers, they wore oversized hats, sunglasses, and carried tiny shopping carts. Bob even had a fake mustache. "Act natural," Kevin whispered. They spent hours patrolling the store, hiding behind produce displays and peeking through cereal boxes. Suddenly, a loud crash came from the loading dock. The banana bandit revealed. The minions rushed to the scene. There, standing amidst a pile of banana boxes, was the biggest thief they had ever seen, a circus elephant with a golden scarf and a cheeky grin. "Banana!" Stuart yelled in delight, but Kevin pulled him back. The elephant was munching on bananas with surprising grace, its trunk darting into boxes and peeling them with ease. Beside it was a broken cage labeled, "Circus Delivery, Do Not Open." Bob gasped, pointing to the label. Escaped circus elephant. The chase. The elephant spotted the minions and, with a playful trumpet, dashed out of the loading dock, leaving a trail of banana peels. "After it!" Kevin yelled, leading the charge. Through the streets they went, dodging startled pedestrians and barking dogs. The chase ended in a park, where the elephant finally slowed down, lying contentedly under a tree with a belly full of bananas. The sweet solution. The minions, realizing the elephant wasn't a criminal but just hungry, decided to help. Bob offered it the last banana he had saved in his pocket, and the elephant trumpeted happily in response. Gru arrived moments later in his car, shaking his head. "You brought home an elephant." Kevin pointed at the circus label, and Gru sighed. "Fine, I'll call the circus. But no more banana raids." A happy ending. The circus came to pick up the elephant, and as a reward, the minions were gifted a truckload of bananas. The minions cheered, sharing bananas with the elephant before it left. That night, the minions feasted on their favorite fruit, their mystery-solving skills sharper than ever. "Banana," they shouted in triumph, ready for their next adventure. Minions and the case of the missing recipe. The minions were ready for their annual banana cake baking day, a day they looked forward to all year. Kevin, Bob, and Stuart proudly placed their chef hats on their heads as they gathered ingredients. But when they went to retrieve the secret recipe card, it was gone. "Banana!" Kevin cried out in panic. Bob sniffed dramatically, clutching his teddy bear, Tim, while Stuart grabbed a ladle and declared, "We will solve the case." Gru was too busy tinkering with his freeze ray to help. "Figure it out yourselves," he said, and the minions set off to find the missing recipe. Clue number 1, the crumbs on the counter. The first clue was a trail of banana crumbs leading from the counter to the floor. Kevin said, squinting through a magnifying glass. The trail led out of the kitchen and toward the backyard. Clue number 2, the muddy footprints. In the backyard, the minions found muddy footprints near the garden. Bob stepped into one and giggled, but Kevin remained serious. The footprints were small, too small for Gru. "Aha! Follow the trail," Stuart declared. Clue number 3, the treehouse. The footprints led them to a rickety treehouse in the corner of the yard. Inside, they found more crumbs and a pile of banana peels. A monkey stuffed its face with bananas, grinning guiltily. "Banana?" Stuart asked, holding up a photo of the recipe. The monkey nodded and pointed to the forest. The forest adventure. The minions entered the forest, encountering squirrels, raccoons, and even a mischievous parrot. Each animal seemed to know something about the recipe but only offered cryptic clues. At last, they found a hollow tree glowing with golden light. Inside was a box with the recipe card, and a mischievous squirrel nibbling on the edges. The return of the recipe. The minions triumphantly returned to the kitchen with the recipe, a little chewed but still readable. They baked the biggest, fluffiest banana cake ever, with icing piled high and sprinkles all around. Gru walked in just as they lit the candles. "What's all this?" he asked, surprised. "Cake," the minions shouted, offering him a slice. Gru smiled, shaking his head. "You guys really are something else." The day ended with the minions dancing around the cake, singing their banana song. All was right again, until the next culinary catastrophe. Gru was busy perfecting his latest invention, the teleportation gizmo 3000, a device that could instantly transport objects from one place to another. The minions watched in awe as the gadget made bananas disappear from one side of the lab and reappear on the other. "Banana," the minions cheered, clapping and jumping excitedly. But the next morning, chaos struck. The gadget was gone. Gru stomped around the lab, frustrated. "Find it, or no bananas for a week," he growled. Kevin, Bob, and Stuart immediately took charge of the investigation. Clue number 1, the tipped-over table. In the corner of the lab, they found a tipped-over table and a trail of scorch marks on the floor. Kevin said, squinting through a magnifying glass. Bob picked up a piece of burnt paper with a curious drawing on it, a banana thief. Clue number 2, the open window. Stuart pointed to an open window, where the curtains fluttered suspiciously. The minions peeked out and spotted faint tire tracks leading toward the nearby hill. The chase. The minions piled into their tiny car and zoomed off, following the tracks. Their wild chase led them to a hidden warehouse in the woods. They peeked inside and gasped. A gang of mischievous raccoons was playing with the gadget, accidentally teleporting each other in piles of bananas. The rescue mission. The minions launched into action. Kevin distracted the raccoons by tossing bananas, while Bob carefully snuck toward the gadget. Stuart, ever the prankster, pressed a random button, causing the gadget to teleport bananas everywhere. In the chaos, the minions grabbed the gadget and zoomed back to the lab. All's well that ends well. Gru inspected the gadget and shook his head. "How do you even lose something like this?" The minions shrugged and offered him a banana in apology. Gru sighed, "Fine, but if this happens again, you're cleaning the whole lab." The minions cheered, hugged the gadget, and danced around Gru, chanting, "Banana."
The minions were busy helping Gru test his latest invention, a laser-powered waffle maker, when Kevin noticed something shiny was missing. The prized mega diamond, the centerpiece of Gru's treasure collection, was gone from its display case. Kevin gasped, "Diamonda!" Bob clutched his teddy bear Tim tightly, while Stuart dramatically fell to the floor, yelling, "No!" Gru, busy working on his new gadget, rolled his eyes. "I don't have time for this. Go figure it out." And so the Minion Detective Agency was born. Clue number 1. The cracked glass. Kevin, Bob, and Stuart inspected the display case. There was a crack in the glass, and a faint trail of glittery dust led out the door. Kevin squinted and shouted, "Follows the trail." Clue number 2. The glittery getaway. The trail led them to the garage, where they found one of Gru's getaway cars covered in glitter. Stuart sniffed the air. Suspicious." Bob nodded and pointed to the license plate. It had been switched to read MEL1. "Mel!" they all said in unison, fists shaking in outrage. Clue number 3. The sneaky hideout. The minions hopped into another car and followed the glittery trail to a shady warehouse on the edge of town. Inside, they found Mel lounging in a hammock, wearing sunglasses and admiring the stolen diamond. "Looking for this?" he taunted, holding up the gem. The minions charged at him, but Mel was prepared. He pressed a button, and a series of booby traps sprang to life. Slippery banana peels, whirring fans, and a robotic chicken. The great diamond heist chased dodging obstacles with their usual clumsy antics. Kevin led the charge, while Stuart distracted the chicken with his guitar. Bob, surprisingly stealthy, climbed up a stack of boxes and leapt onto Mel's hammock, causing it to flip. The diamond went flying. "Diamonda!" they all screamed as it bounced off walls, rolled through a pipe, and landed in Kevin's hands. Victory, the resolution. Back at the lab, Mel was tied up in bubble wrap as the minions returned the diamond to its rightful place. Gru, returning from his errand, looked at the mess inside. "Why do I let you guys do anything?" The minions proudly saluted, holding up the diamond, while Mel muttered, "It was just a joke, guys." All was well.
Once upon a time, in a galaxy not too far away, there floated a unique wonder of the universe, a zero-gravity banana farm. Designed with care by none other than the cunning inventor Gru, it spun ever so gently above the Earth, cocooned in a shimmering force-field greenhouse. This vessel was famed for growing the sweetest cosmic bananas, a cultivar cherished by all the minions. One mellow afternoon, dressed in his iconic scarf and a mischievous grin, Gru decided to take a break and indulge in a quick coffee run. As he prepared to leave, he handed over the reins of the beautiful floating farm to his trusty, albeit chaotic, minions. "Don't touch anything," he warned, though knowing them well, his words were merely a gentle breeze in a storm of impending mischief. Inside the zero-gravity farm, Kevin, Bob, and Stuart were already teeming with excitement. In this weightless paradise, golden banana buds floated like carefree balloons. Bob, ever curious and always charming, stumbled upon the gravity dial. With a mischievous glint in his eyes, he reached out and cranked it all the way to 00 mode. What followed was nothing short of spectacular. The entire station transformed into a magical scene. A swirling cloud of glowing bananas cascaded around them like a fruity galaxy. Kevin was quick to seize the moment, hopping onto a leaf platform and surfing through the air with effortless grace. Stuart, never one to miss a chance to jam, began strumming an invisible guitar, filling the air with imaginary sound waves that sent banana petals twinkling around them. Bob, meanwhile, floated upside down, laughing uncontrollably in the pure, unfettered joy of it all, his trusty teddy bobbing gently by his side. But as the minions jubilantly frolicked through space, an unexpected alarm blared through the station. A critical alert. Banana overload. The lack of gravity had allowed the super bananas to instead form into a massive banana comet. one that threatened to collide with the glass dome protecting the farm, and, worse still, rain down a sticky banana mash across the entire planet below.